Okay, sir.
Good evening, everyone. I welcome Bhaskar sir. Right now, he is working as a chemist in Palvancha, KTPS Palvancha. He got first rank in the selection list actually. For the past 12 years, he has been teaching for MSc Chemistry entrance and also CSR coaching at Chembiosis Institute. Now he is also pursuing his PhD in Usmania University. Previous CP Gate and also JAM, he was our resource person. And thank you very much, sir, for accepting our invitation and sharing your expertise with our students. Thank you very much. Please welcome, sir.
Thank you, sir. First of all, thanks to KGC Hanmakonda for giving me this opportunity. Okay, so thanks to all the lecturers who are taking classes, who are taking free coaching, right? Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for accepting our invitation. సార్ ఏదో వాయిస్ వస్తుంది భాస్కర్ సార్ మీ దగ్గర నుండేనా?
లేదు సార్, లేదు సార్.
సార్ ఇంటి దగ్గర కాదు, మీ దగ్గరే ఉంది సార్.
ఓకే, 1 minute.
పిల్లల వాయిస్ వస్తుంది, మీ దగ్గర నుండి ఏమైనా వస్తుందా? వేరే పిల్లలు ఎవరైతే లేరు, అందరూ మ్యూట్ లో ఉన్నారు.
ఓకే, ఓకే సార్. ఒక్క నిమిషం సార్. మరి అండ్ కాలిగేటివ్ ప్రాపర్టీస్, solutions and colligative properties. In that, first of all, dilute solutions and colligative properties. Dilute solutions and colligative properties. So today we will discuss some basic concepts required while we are studying not only colligative properties, while we are studying physical chemistry. So what are the various methods to express the concentration of a solution? So those things we will discuss. So first of all, what is solution? Okay, what are the various types of solutions we have, and what is dilute solution? And then we go to what are the various methods to express the concentration of solution. So today we will discuss some basic concepts. So in the next class I will start colligative properties, very important chapter, colligative properties. Okay, so first of all, what is solution? What is solution? So generally solution is said to be a homogeneous mixture of, solution is a homogeneous mixture of two or more than two components. So minimum two components if present, mixture is said to be solution. Homogeneous mixture of two components or more than two components. Okay, here we are saying homogeneous mixture. Homogeneous mixture means, okay, if it possesses composition, uniform composition throughout the solution. So composition is uniform throughout the solution and properties are uniform. So then such solution is said to be homogeneous solution. It has to possess only one phase, single phase. It has to possess only one phase, single phase. Then such solution is said to be homogeneous solution. Okay, uniform composition, uniform properties throughout the solution, and if it possesses only one phase, then such a mixture is said to be homogeneous mixture. If more than one phase is present, more than one phase is present, or properties are not uniform throughout the solution, composition is not uniform throughout the solution, then such mixture is said to be what? Heterogeneous mixture. Okay, here we are concentrating on homogeneous mixture. So it is a homogeneous mixture of two or more than two components. For example, okay, I am adding some sugar to water. For example, I am adding some sugar to water. Okay, in the beginning we may observe more amount of sugar at bottom part. In the beginning we may observe more amount of sugar at bottom part. Okay, so at in the beginning it is not said to be a uniform solution. We may clearly distinguish sugar particles and water particles. Now if you stir for some time, what happens? And this sugar distributes uniformly throughout the solution. That sugar distributes uniformly throughout the solution. So we cannot distinguish sugar particles and water. We cannot distinguish. Okay, so it possesses uniform properties, uniform taste, it possesses uniform taste. Okay, right. So then such solution is said to be what? Homogeneous solution. Here, how many components are there? Two components, sugar and water. So generally, the component which is present in largest amount, the component which is present in largest amount, that component is said to be solvent. The component which is present in largest amount, that is said to be solvent. And other than solvent, all the remaining components, other than solvent, all the remaining components present in the solution, those are called solutes. Other than solvent, all the remaining components present in the solution, they are called solutes. If two components are present, for example, sugar and water, if two components are present, that is said to be a binary solution. Two components are present, that is said to be a binary solution. With three components, ternary solution. Four components, quaternary solution. Like that, we have solutions. Okay. If solvent is water, generally such solution is called as aqueous solution. If solvent is water, aqueous solution. If you have other than water, that is said to be non-aqueous solution. If solvent is water, aqueous solution. Other than water, if you are taking a solvent, that is said to be non-aqueous solution. Okay. So solution means homogeneous mixture of two or more than two components. Homogeneous mixture means the properties are same throughout the solution, composition same. It has to possess only one phase. Okay, for example, sugar in water, sugar in water. Okay, alcohol and water. If you mix alcohol and water, they mix each other to form uniform solution. For example, oil and water, if you mix, we may clearly distinguish between oil layer and water layer. So more than one phase is formed. More than one phase is formed. That is not a homogeneous mixture. So the component which is present in largest amount, that is called solvent. Other than solvent is called solute. Okay. If you have two components, binary solution, three components, ternary, like that we have. And if you use specially solvent water, that is said to be aqueous solution. If you use other than water as solvent, that is said to be okay. Next one is, what are the various types of solutions we have? Various types of solutions. Okay. On what basis we are doing these classifications of solutions? Based on nature of solute and solvent. So based on nature of solute and solvent, we have 7 types of solutions. Based on nature of solute and solvent, we have 7 types of homogeneous solutions. 7 types of homogeneous solutions we have. Those are, okay, those 7 types are, I am giving solute and example for each type. Solute, solvent, example. The first one is, for example, gas dispersed in gas. Okay, gas particles present in gas. Second one, gas dispersed in liquid, for example. Third one, gas dispersed in solid, solvent. Gas dispersed in liquid solvent. Gas dispersed in solid solvent. Okay, so solute present in gaseous state, solvent present in solid state. Next one, solute present in liquid state, solvent also present in liquid state. Solute present in liquid state, solvent present in solid state. Solute present in liquid state, solvent, okay, present in solid state. Solute present in solid state, solvent present in liquid state, and solid state and solid state. So these are the various types of homogeneous solutions we have. Gas in gas, gas in liquid, gas in solid, liquid in solid, solid in solid. Okay, if you consider the remaining two, what are the remaining two? And liquid in gas, liquid in gas. Another one is solid in gas. Liquid in gas and solid in gas. They do not form homogeneous solutions. They do not form homogeneous solutions. Liquid particles dispersed in gas, for example, clouds. Okay, water dispersed in, water droplets dispersed in air, water droplets dispersed in air, fog. Okay, those comes under heterogeneous solutions. They comes under heterogeneous solutions. Solid in gas, for example, dust particles dispersed in air, dust particles dispersed in air. Okay, smoke and okay, smoke. So those are said to be heterogeneous solutions that we study separately, and in colloids we study about them. Okay, colloids are what? Heterogeneous solutions. Colloids are heterogeneous solutions. Now, if you see example, gas in gas, air. Air is said to be what? Homogeneous mixture of various gases. Air is said to be a homogeneous mixture of various gases. Next, gas in liquid. For example, aerated water. Aerated water, CO2 plus water and CO2 in water. Okay, in cool drinks we may observe. So CO2 gas. Okay, cool drinks. The bottle is sealed under high pressure. Okay, under high pressure. So in that CO2 is present. So once if you open the lid, what we observe? We may observe the expansion of CO2 gas. As CO2 gas is, as that bottle is sealed under high pressure, to increase the solubility of CO2. So with increase in pressure, what happens to the solubility of CO2? And increases. Once if you open the bottle, what happens? The escaping of CO2 gas is observed. Okay, gases expand spontaneously from high pressure to low pressure. Okay, right. So aerated water, gas in liquid. Next, gas in solid. That is adsorption of hydrogen on palladium. So hydrogen in palladium. Hydrogen in palladium. So that is said to be gas in solid. Liquid in liquid. For example, alcohol in water. Those are visible to each other and form a homogeneous solution. That form a homogeneous solution. So liquid in liquid, that is an example for alcohol in water is an example for liquid in liquid. Next, liquid in solid. Okay, liquid in solid, that is mercury in amalgams. And for example, mercury in sodium amalgam. Mercury is liquid, sodium amalgam, that is solid. So liquid in solid. So for example, mercury in sodium amalgam. Okay. Next, solid in liquid. Solid in liquid. For example, NaCl in water or sugar in water. NaCl in water forms a homogeneous solution. Sugar in water forms a homogeneous solution. Solid in solid. Alloys. Alloys are the homogeneous mixture of more than one element. Two or more than elements. Okay. Alloys are what? Homogeneous mixture of two or more than two elements. So these are the various examples for homogeneous solutions. Okay. So this is the classification we are doing based on nature of solute and solvent. Physical state of solute and solvent. Physical state of solute and solvent. Okay. These two are considered as heterogeneous mixtures. Okay. Next, I want to explain some concepts from stoichiometry before going to colligative properties. Okay, what are the various methods to express the concentration of solution? And one more small concept: what is atomic mass unit? What is atomic mass unit or unified mass? That is also said to be unified mass. Atomic mass. Atomic mass unit. So atomic mass unit is nothing but it is the 1/12th mass of 1/12th mass of one atom of carbon 12. 1/12th mass of one atom of carbon 12 is called as atomic mass unit. So atomic mass unit is equal to one atom of carbon 12. The mass of one carbon atom, the mass of one carbon 12 atom is 1.9924 into 10 power minus 23 grams by 12. So 1/12th of mass of one atom of carbon 12. This is the mass of one carbon 12 atom. So if you simplify that, 1.66 into 10 power 24 grams we get 1.66 into 10 power 24 grams. That is called as one atomic mass unit. This scale is required. So atomic mass unit is nothing but 1.66 into 10 power minus 24 grams. Now tell me, what is atomic mass of an atom? Atomic mass. What is atomic mass? Atomic mass is nothing but how many times the mass of an atom, how many times the mass of an atom, the mass of an atom of element heavier compared to 1/12 mass of one atom of carbon-12. Compared to this mass, how many times our atom's mass is more? Compared to this mass, how many times our atom's mass is more? That is called as atomic mass. Okay, mass of one atom of an element. How many times mass of one atom of an element is heavier compared to 1/12 mass of one atom of carbon-12. 1/12 mass of one atom of carbon-12. This is nothing but atomic mass unit. So compared to this mass, how many times, okay, atom of an element mass is more? That is called as atomic mass unit. So here what we are using as reference, and carbon-12 we are using as reference. Carbon-12 we are using as reference since its availability is more, its natural abundance is also more. Its natural abundance is almost 98.9%. What is the natural abundance of carbon-12? 98.9%. So its natural abundance is more. That's why we are using carbon-12 as a reference to give the mass of other atom. Okay. So based on this scale, atomic mass is equal to, we can give like this one: mass of one atom of element, by 1/12 mass of one atom of carbon-12 is called atomic mass unit. Mass of one atom of an element by atomic mass unit, that gives atomic mass of an atom. So based on this, if you calculate atomic mass of hydrogen, will get 1.008 atomic mass units only. So almost 1 atomic mass unit. Atomic mass of hydrogen. So what is the mass of single hydrogen? That is 1 atomic mass unit. Okay, what is the atomic mass of oxygen? If you see, 16 atomic mass units, nearly 16 atomic mass units. That is the atomic mass of oxygen. So that means oxygen mass is 16 times more compared to 1/12 mass of one atom of carbon-12. Hydrogen mass is almost same to 1/12 mass of one atom of carbon-12. That means in grams, 1 into atomic mass unit means 1.66 into 10⁻⁻24 grams. This is the mass of one hydrogen atom. So most of the people are saying, what is the mass of hydrogen atom? 1 gram. They are saying 1 gram. What is the mass of hydrogen atom? 1.66 into 10⁻⁻24 grams, or 1 atomic mass unit. Okay, 1 gram is the mass of Avogadro number of hydrogen atom. Okay, 1 gram is the mass of Avogadro number of hydrogen atom. Okay, atomic mass of oxygen, 16 into 1.66 into 10⁻⁻24 gram. Right. Similarly, what is the mass of one H2O molecule? One H2O molecule means 1 atomic mass unit, 2 into 1 atomic mass unit plus 16, and 18 atomic mass units. Mass of one H2O molecule, 18 atomic mass units. Okay, and 18 grams. What is 18 grams? 18 grams is the Avogadro number of H2O molecules mass. Okay. And a gram atomic mass, gram molecular mass. Briefly, I will explain. Gram atomic mass. Gram atomic mass means it is the mass of Avogadro number of molecules. Avogadro number is 6.02 into 10⁻23. Number of atoms mass expressed in grams. It is the mass of Avogadro number of atoms. Okay, mass of 6.2023 into 10⁻23 number of atoms expressed in grams. Its mass is called as gram atomic mass. So if you see gram atomic mass of hydrogen, so one hydrogen atom mass is 1.66 into 10⁻⁻24 grams into Avogadro number of hydrogen atoms mass 6.02 into 10⁻23. If you simplify this, we will get 1 gram. If you simplify this, you get 1 gram. This is the mass of one hydrogen atom. Now we are calculating Avogadro number of hydrogen atom. Okay, Avogadro number of hydrogen atoms. If you simplify this, we'll get 1 gram. So 1 gram indicates, okay, Avogadro number of hydrogen atoms. Similarly, if you calculate our atomic mass of oxygen, okay, atomic mass of gram atomic mass of oxygen, that is 16 into 1.66 into 10 power minus 24 grams into 6.02 into 10 power 23. We'll get 16 grams. We'll get 16 grams. So 16 grams is the gram atomic mass of oxygen. So gram atomic mass means Avogadro number of atoms or particles mass. Similarly, gram molecular mass. Last example I am giving, gram molecular mass. So mass of Avogadro number of molecules expressed in grams. Mass of 6.02 into 10 power 23 number of molecules expressed in grams. That is called what? Gram molecular mass. Gram molecular mass. For example, gram molecular mass of H2O molecule. Gram molecular mass of H2O molecule. Okay. So what is the gram atomic mass of hydrogen? 1 gram. So 2 hydrogen atoms are there, so 2 grams. Gram atomic mass of oxygen is 16 grams. So therefore 18 grams. 18 grams. That is the gram molecular mass of H2O. Okay. The molecular mass of H2O is 18 atomic mass units. 18 into, okay, 1.66 into 10 power minus 24 into 6.02 into 10 power 23. If you do, you will get 18 grams only. Similar calculation if you do, you will get 18 grams only. Okay, so finally, just you remember, always if you express mass in grams, okay, that is not single molecule mass only. That is, okay, 1 mole of H2O molecules mass. Avogadro number of H2O molecules mass. Okay, right. So while you are studying at microscopic level, single particle, single molecule you are studying, in such cases you have to substitute atomic masses. In atomic mass unit scale you have to substitute. Okay, right? So you don't have to substitute in grams. Okay, since in grams that indicates Avogadro number of particles. Okay, for example, you are studying wavelength. Okay, wavelength is a characteristic property of a given molecule, single molecule, not Avogadro number of molecules. So while you are calculating wavelength of a molecule or an atom, you have to substitute what? Single atom mass or single molecules mass. Okay, right. Now next I am going to various methods to express the concentration, right? Methods to express the concentration of solution. Methods to express the concentration of solution. So every chemistry student must have to possess some knowledge, some idea on various methods to express the concentration of solution. Okay, mostly we use molality, normality, mole fraction. These four we use repeatedly: molarity, molality, okay, molarity, and normality. So those four are very important. So these are the various methods we have to express the concentration of solution. Mass percent, volume percent, mass percent, volume percent, mass by volume percent. Okay, this may be indicated like this: weight by weight percentage, volume by volume percentage. Okay, weight by volume percentage, mass by volume percent. Fourth one, molality. We have mole fraction, ppm, parts per million. We have molality, mole fraction, parts per million, molarity, normality. So these are the various methods we have to express the concentration. So in that, mostly we follow molality, mole fraction, molarity, and normality. These four are important. So as long as you are studying physical chemistry, so compulsory you have to possess some idea on these four methods. Okay. These are the various methods to express the concentration of solution. Mass percent, volume percent, mass by volume percent, molality, mole fraction, ppm, polarity, normality. Some other methods also there. ppb we have, strength we have, formality we have. Okay, some other methods also we have. So mostly these are important. Okay. First, mass percentage. Okay, mass percent, weight by weight percent. So it is nothing but it is the amount of solute. It is the amount of solute in grams. It is the amount of solute in grams present in 100 grams of solution. Present in 100 grams of solution. Percent we are saying percent. So therefore we have to take 100 grams of solution. In 100 grams of solution, how much amount of solute present in grams? That is called as mass percent. Okay, weight by weight antunam. So solute we have to express in grams. Solution weight also, solution amount also we have to express in grams. Solute we have to express in grams. Solution also we have to express in grams. For example, in W grams of solution. For example, in W grams of solution, capital W grams of solution, small W grams of solute is present. In capital W grams of solution, small W grams of solute is present. Okay, now we want to calculate what? How many grams of solute present in 100 grams of solution? So then, what is the weight of solute present in 100 grams of solution? What is the weight of solute present in 100 grams of solution? That is called what? Mass percent, weight by weight percentage. So weight by weight percentage is equal what else? This one by this one into this one. Okay, so this one by this one into 100. So therefore, weight of solute in gram, this one by small w we are indicating. Weight of solute in grams by weight of solution in grams. Weight of solution in grams into 100. So this is the expression for mass percent. This is the expression for mass percent. Weight of solute in grams by weight of solution in grams into 100. Okay, you remember numerator corresponds to solute. Okay, here the numerator will get solute, the denominator will get solution. Weight means both we have to express in grams, and for percentage means for 100 grams we have to calculate. By weight, 10% weight by weight, NaOH solution I am saying. For example, 10% weight by weight NaOH solution. So what is the meaning of this one? 10% weight by weight NaOH solution means, okay, 10 grams of NaOH present in 10 grams of NaOH present in 100 grams of solution. 10 grams of NaOH present in 100 grams of solution. That means what about the remaining 90 grams? Remaining 90 grams is solvent. Remaining 90 grams is solvent. For example, if it is 100 grams of solution, 10 grams of NaOH is there, remaining 90 grams is water, if it is aqueous solution. Right. Okay. So if you substitute here 10 by 100 into 100, 10 by 100 into 100, 100 gets cancelled. So 10% we will get. 10% we will get. Okay. Right. This is mass percentage. Similar, next volume percent. If you see, second one, volume percent. Volume percentage. What is volume percentage? Now it is the volume of solute, V by V. This corresponds to what? Solute. This corresponds to what? Solution. So this is the volume of solute in ml present in 100 ml of solution. Volume of solute in ml present in 100 ml of solution. That is called as volume percentage. Right? Volume of solute in ml present in 100 ml of solution. So both we are expressing in ml. Volume of solute in ml present in 100 ml of solution. That is called as volume percentage. For example, in V ml of solution. For example, in V ml of solution, okay, small v ml of solute is present. In capital V ml of solution, for example, small v ml of solute is present. Then what about in 100 ml of solution? In 100 ml of solution, what is the volume of solute present. That is called volume by volume percentage. So volume by volume percentage is equal to, so volume of solute in ml by volume of solution in ml into 100. So volume by volume percentage is volume of solute in ml by volume of solution in ml into 100. That is called volume percentage. Okay. For example, 10% volume by volume HCl solution. For example, 10% volume by volume HCl solution. The meaning of this is 10 ml of HCl. Okay, aqueous solution. If you consider 10 ml of HCl present in 100 ml of solution. 10 ml of HCl present in 100 ml of solution. 10 ml of HCl present in 100 ml of solution. 10% volume by volume HCl solution. This is volume percentage. Third one, mass by volume percent. Mass by volume percent. Weight by volume percentage. So solute amount we have to express in gram. Solution we have to express in ml. Solute we have to express in gram. Solution we have to express in ml. So how can you define mass by volume percentage? Okay, it is the amount of solute. It is the amount of solute in grams. It is the amount of solute in grams present in 100 ml solution. Okay, solute we are expressing in grams. Solution we are expressing in ml. It is the amount of solute in grams present in 100 ml solution. It is the amount of solute in grams present in 100 ml solution. Okay. For example, in VML solution, W grams of solute is present. Then in 100 ml solution, what is the amount of solute present? In VML of solution, if W grams of solute is present, in 100 ml of solution, what is the weight of solute present? That is called as mass by volume percentage. Okay. So solute we have to express in grams. Weight of solute in grams by volume of solution in ml into 100. Weight of solute in gram by volume of solution in ml into 100. That is called mass by volume percentage. Okay, for example, 10% weight by volume KOH solution. I am saying, for example, 10% weight by volume KOH solution means what? 10 grams of KOH present in 100 ml solution. 10 grams of KOH present in 100 ml solution. 10% weight by volume KOH means 10 grams of KOH present in 100 ml solution. Okay. So this is about weight by weight, volume by volume, and weight by volume percentage. Right. Okay, next I'm giving fourth one, molality. Now tell me. Okay, discussed weight by volume percentage, weight by weight percentage. Next, volume by volume percentage. Okay, out of these three, which depends on temperature, which do not depends on temperature? Out of these three methods to express the concentration, which one depends on temperature, which one do not depends on temperature? Anyone? Which depends on temperature and which one do not depends on temperature? Okay, weight by weight percentage, if you see that it depends on temperature or not, weight by weight percentage. Weight by weight percentage do not depends on temperature, right? Amya garu. So weight by weight percentage do not depends on temperature. Mass weight by volume or volume by volume percentage depends on temperature. Since whenever volume is present with the temperature, what happens to volume? As temperature increases, volume increases. As temperature changes, volume changes. Okay, no change in the mass. As temperature changes, no change in the mass. As temperature changes, volume changes. So therefore, concentration also changes. So whenever volume term is involved, okay, that method to express concentration depends on temperature. As temperature changes, volume changes. Okay. Right, so weight by weight percentage do not depends on temperature. Weight by volume and volume by volume depends on temperature. So molality. So how can you define molality? It is the number of moles of solute. It is the number of moles of solute present in 1 kg of solvent. It is the number of moles of solute present in 1 kg of solvent. It is the number of moles of solute present in 1 kg of solvent. For example, in W kg of solvent, n moles of solute is present. For example, in W kg of solvent, n moles of solute is present. Then what about in 1 kg of solvent? What is the number of moles of solute present in 1 kg of solvent? That is called as molality. Okay, what is the number of moles of solute present in 1 kg of solvent? That is called as molality. So what is the formula for molality? Molality we can give with small. Okay, molality is equal to what? N by, okay, W into 1. Okay, so N, number of moles, weight of solvent in kgs into 1. So no need to write. So number of moles of solute by weight of solvent in kgs. That is the expression for molality. Number of moles of solute by weight of solvent in kgs. Okay, so molality is equal to number of moles of solute by, if you express the weight of solvent in grams, into 1000 we will get, into 1000. Okay, right. So weight in kgs is equal to what? Weight in grams. Sorry, weight in grams is equal to what we have? Weight in kgs into 1000. Weight in grams is equal to what we have? Weight in kgs into 1000. So weight in kgs is equal to what we will get? Weight in grams by 1000. Weight in grams by 1000. Right. So this is the expression for molality, number of moles of solute present in 1 kg of solvent. Okay. Whether it depends on temperature or not depends on temperature. Whether it depends on temperature or not depends on temperature. Is there any volume term is there or no volume term? No volume term. Weights only we have. So weight is independent of temperature. Weight is independent of temperature. If volume term is there, it may depend on temperature. Right, Andy? Very good. So molality is said to be independent of temperature. Molality is said to be independent of temperature. Next, how to write number of moles? And number of moles means weight by molecular weight. Weight by molecular weight. Number of moles of solute means weight by molecular weight. Right, into 1000 by weight of solvent in grams. Number of moles we can write as weight by molecular weight into 1000 by weight of solvent in grams, or into 1 by weight of solvent in kgs. Right. So what is the unit for molality? And what is the unit for molality? What is the unit for molality? Here we are expressing solute in moles, right? Very good, Andy sir. Right. Moles per solvent weight we are expressing in grams, so moles per kg. Or simply we indicate with small m. Moles per kg, or simply we indicate with small m. Right. Next one, fifth one. Mole fraction. Mole fraction. For example, I am taking a solution having two components. I am taking a solution having two components, A and B. Solution having two components, A and B. So number of moles. The number of moles of A and B present in the solution, that is Na and Nb. The number of moles of components present is Na and Nb. Then what is mole fraction? Mole fraction, the name itself indicates mole percent or mole percent. So it is the ratio of number of moles of solute, right? It is the ratio of number of moles of solute to total number of moles. To total number of moles. It is the ratio of number of moles of solute to total number of moles. That is called as mole fraction. So therefore, mole fraction of A, that is equal to number of moles of A by total number of moles, that is Na plus Nb. Mole fraction of B, that is Nb by Na plus Nb. So mole fraction of a component we can give like this: number of moles of that component by total number of moles. So if you add those two, what we get? Na plus Nb by Na plus Nb, Na plus Nb by Na plus Nb, that is 1. Both are gets cancelled. So always sum of the mole fractions is equal to how much? 1. Always sum of the mole fractions of all the components present in the solution is equal to 1. If you take 3 components, A, B, C, Xa plus Xb plus Xc is equal to 1. Always mole fraction value in the solution is less than 1. Mole fraction of a component in the solution is less than 1. Since sum of the mole fractions is equal to 1. If component A present 90%, component B present 10%, 0.9, 0.1, so 1 we will get. 50%, 0.5, 0.5, we will get 1. So always the mole fraction of a component present in a solution is less than 1. What are the limits for mole fraction? What are the limits for mole fraction? That is 0 to 1. The limits for mole fraction are 0 to 1. If you take pure A, for example, if you take pure A, what is the mole fraction of A? 100%, that is 1. What is the mole fraction of B? 0. The limits for mole fraction are 0 to 1. Pure A, if you take mole fraction of A is 1, mole fraction of B is 0. If you take pure B, mole fraction of B is equal to 1, mole fraction of A is equal to 0. Right? This is about mole fraction. Whether it depends on temperature or independent of temperature. It is also independent of temperature. Volume term is not there, so it is independent of temperature. Mole fraction is independent of temperature. Right? No units for mole fraction. Number of moles by total number of moles. So number of moles gets cancelled. So no unit for mole fraction. Next one, ppm, parts per million. The name itself indicates parts per million. Parts per million. So it is nothing but the number of parts of solute present in million parts of solution. Okay, percent and percent means number of grams of solute. Weight by weight percent means number of grams of solute present in 100 grams of solution. V by V percent means volume of solute in ml present in 100 ml of solution. Similarly, here number of parts of solute present in million parts of solution. 10 power 6 parts of solution. Right? It is the number of parts of solute. It is the number of parts of solute present in million parts. Million parts means 10 power 6 parts of solution. అక్కడ percent అంటే 100 అన్నాం, ఇక్కడ million అంటున్నాం కాబట్టి 10 power 6. Okay, it is the number of parts of solute present in 10 power 6 parts of solution. It is the number of parts of solute present in 10 power 6 parts of solution. For example, in W grams of solution, small W grams of solute is present. In W grams of solution, small W grams of solute is present. Then what about in 10 power 6 grams of solution? What about the weight of solute present in 10 power 6 grams of solution? That is called as ppm. So ppm is equal to this one by this one into 10 power 6. So weight of solute in grams by weight of solution in grams. So small difference is into 10 power 6. Percent means into 100 we got. Okay. ppm means we are getting into 10 power 6. Okay. Generally, when we follow this parts per million, okay, this method we follow whenever, okay, so solute present in very, very small quantities, trace quantities. If the solute present in trace quantities, the solute present in very, very small quantities, in such cases we follow ppm. To express the concentration we call ppm. Okay, what are the various pollutants present in water, various pollutants present in air? They are present in trace quantities. Various pollutants present in air or water present in trace quantities. So their concentration we can express in ppm squared. Okay, 1 ppm is nothing but 1 milligram per liter. 1 ppm is nothing but 1 milligram per liter. 10 power minus 3 mg, 10 power minus 3 grams per liter. Okay, 10 power minus 3 grams, and mg means 10 power minus 3 grams per liter. Liter and 10 power 3 ml. So 1 gram per 10 power 6 ml. Weight by volume follow in అనుకోండి. Weight by volume follow అయినప్పుడు ఇక్కడ weight by weight follow అయిన volume by volume కూడా follow కావచ్చు. ppm అంటే ఏంటండి? Volume of solute in ml by volume of solution in ml into 10 power 6. Volume of solute in ml by volume of solution in ml into 10 power 6. ఇక్కడ 10 power 6 parts అంటున్నారు. వాల్యూమ్ కావచ్చు, weight అయినా కావచ్చు. Okay, the volume of solute in ml present in 10 power 6 ml of solution, that is also ppm. Volume of solute in ml present in 10 power 6 ml of solution, that is ppm. Okay, weight of solute in grams present in 10 power 6 ml of solution. Weight of solute in grams present in 10 power 6 ml of solution, that is said to be ppm. So 1 ppm is nothing but 1 gram, 1 mg per liter. And okay, ఇంకా trace quantities ఇంకా lower level లో ఉంటే ppb అని follow అవుతుంది. అది ppb అంటే 10 power 9 parts అండి. 10 power 9 parts follow అవుతుంది. Okay, this is ppm అండి. So the difference is percent అంటేనేమో 100 తీసుకున్నాం, ఇక్కడ parts per million అంటేనేమో 10 power 6 amounts of solution we are taking. In that, what is the amount of solute present? Okay, that is called as ppm. Okay. Next, seventh one, molarity. And molarity. Okay, molarity means number of moles of solute present in 1 kg of solvent. Number of moles of solute present in 1 kg of solvent. Molarity means it is the number of moles of solute present in 1 liter of solution, right? It is the okay, it is the number of moles of solute. It is the number of moles of solute present in 1 liter of solution. So mostly we use this method to express the concentration. And important. Okay. It is the number of moles of solute present in 1 liter of solution. For example, in V liters solution, N is the number of moles of solute present. Okay, N moles of solute is present. In V liters solution, N moles of solute present, but we want to calculate for how many liters of solution? 1 liter of solution. Then in 1 liter of solution, what is the number of moles of solute present? In 1 liter of solution, what is the number of moles of solute present? That is called as molarity. So therefore, molarity is nothing but N by V in liters. N by V in liters. There N is the number of moles of solute present. Molarity is equal to N by V in liters. What is the unit? And what is unit? N, number of moles per liter. Unit is moles per liter, or we can express simply by capital M. Capital M, molarity we indicate with capital M, molality we indicate with small m. Or moles per decimeter cube. 1 decimeter cube is equal to 1 liter. 1 decimeter cube is equal to 1 liter. Okay, so moles per decimeter cube. Now, if you express volume in ml, so number of moles by volume in ml into 1000. Since volume in ml is equal to what? Volume in ml is equal to volume in liters into 1000. 2 liters means 2 into 1000, 2000 ml. Volume in ml is nothing but volume in liters into 1000. So volume in liters we can write as volume in ml by 1000. Volume in ml by 1000. Volume in liters we can write as volume in ml by 1000. The denominator only got to reverse we get 1000 by volume in ml. So molarity is equal to number of moles of solute by volume in ml into 1000. Or number of moles we can write as weight by molecular weight. Weight by molecular weight. Weight by molecular weight into 1000 by volume in ml. Weight by molecular weight into 1000 by volume in ml. So these are various expressions we have for molarity. Number of moles by volume in liters, or if you express in ml into 1000, number of moles we can write as weight by molecular weight. or that may be rearranged like this, or that may be rearranged like this. Molarity is equal to, okay, weight by volume in ml. I am rearranging like this: weight by volume in ml into 1000. I am writing 100 into 10 by molecular weight. Weight by volume in ml, volume of solution ml, 1000 I am writing 100 into 10 divided by molecular weight. So what is this at? Weight by volume in ml into 100. That is nothing but what? Mass by volume percentage, weight by volume percentage. So molarity is equal to weight by volume percent into 10 by molecular weight. Weight by volume percentage into 10 by molecular weight. So if weight by volume percentage is given, we can calculate molarity simply by using this expression. Okay. Okay, so next one, another important thing is, what is the expression for number of moles of solutant? What is the expression for number of moles of solute? N. Number of moles of solute. So number of moles of solute is equal to what we have? M into V in liters. M into V in liters. Volume of solution in liters. Number of moles of solute is equal to M into V in liters. Or from this equation, we can write as number of moles of solute is equal to M into V in ml by 1000. M into V in ml by 1000. So volume in liters is nothing but what? Volume in ml by 1000. Or from this equation, number of moles of solute is equal to M into V in ml by 1000. Right. So number of moles of, if you see number of millimoles of solute, number of millimoles of solute. Next one. Number of millimoles. Always 1 liter is equal to 1000 milliliters. 1 liter is equal to 1000 milliliters. Okay. So number of millimoles of solute means number of moles of solute into 1000. Number of moles of solute into 1000. That is M into V in liters into 1000. Number of millimoles of solute means number of moles into 1000. That is M into V in liters into 1000. Or if you multiply number of moles by 1000 here, 1000 gets cancelled. So M into V in ml. So M into V in ml, that gives what? Number of millimoles of solute. Number of millimoles means number of moles into 1000. Whether it depends on temperature or independent of temperature. Molarity, whether it depends on temperature or independent of temperature. Here we have, right, we have volume term. As volume term is there, so with the change in temperature, volume term changes. So therefore, it depends on temperature. Molarity depends on temperature. Right, very good. Next we have dilution principle. What is dilution principle? What is dilution principle? Okay. For example, I am taking 1 liter solution containing, okay, 1 liter solution containing, okay, 1 mole of some solute. Okay, 1 mole of solute. Okay, for example, 1 mole of NaOH. 1 mole of NaOH means, what is the molar mass of NaOH? 40 grams. Sodium 23, oxygen 16, hydrogen 1, 40 grams. Okay, I have 1 liter solution in which 40 grams of NaOH is present. Okay, so I am doing dilution. I am doing dilution. Dilution means addition of solvent is called dilution. Addition of solvent is called dilution. Addition of solvent. For example, I am adding 1 liter water. I am adding 1 liter water. So now we have 2 liters solution. Now we have 2 liters solution containing what? 1 mole of NaOH. Is there any change in the number of moles of NaOH or no change in the number of moles of NaOH? by adding water. Okay, 1 liter contains 1 mole of NaOH. Now 2 liter solution also contains how many moles of NaOH only? Again same, 1 mole of NaOH only. Again 2 liter solution contains 1 mole of NaOH only. Okay, since we are not adding any solute, we are not removing any solute, right? So therefore during dilution, is there any change in the number of moles of solute or number of millimoles of solute? Okay, during dilution concentration may changes and concentration decreases, right? Okay, here concentration and here concentration is different. Here concentration, if you express in molarity, number of moles by volume in liter. Number of moles is 1 mole. 1 mole present in 1 liter, so 1 by 1. So concentration is 1 m. Here concentration is 1 mole of NaOH present in 2 liters, 1 by 2. So concentration decreases, concentration changes. But what about number of moles I am asking? So no change in the number of moles of solute. So during dilution, number of moles of solute or number of millimoles of solute remains constant. That is called as dilution principle. So what is dilution principle, right? During dilution, number of moles or millimoles, of solute remains constant. Number of moles or millimoles of solute remains constant. Here 1 mole is there, here also 1 mole is there. Here 1000 millimoles of solute is there, here also 1000 millimoles of solute is there. Okay, in both the cases 1000 millimoles of solute is present. So therefore no change in the number of moles or millimoles of solute during dilution. So what is the formula we have for number of moles or millimoles? M into V we have. M into V, if you substitute in liters, that is number of moles. M into V, if you substitute in ml, that is number of millimoles. So overall what we have, M into V is equal to constant and no change in the M into V value during dilution. If you substitute in liters, moles. If you substitute in ml, millimoles. So M into V is equal to constant, or we can write M1 V1 is equal to M2 V2. We can write M1 V1 is equal to M2 V2. Okay. So right, during dilution, what is the volume of solvent to be added? Right, during dilution, the volume of solvent to be added. During dilution, the volume of solvent to be added. That is what? V1 is the initial volume, V2 is the final volume. So what is the volume of solvent we have to add? Right, very good. So V2 minus V1. So V2 minus V1 is the volume of solvent we have to add. Okay, so during dilution only concentration changes, but no change in the amount of solute present. So number of moles of solute or millimoles remains constant. M into V is constant, or we can write it as M1 V1 is equal to M2 V2. So what is the volume of solvent we have to add? Okay, so this is the principle we follow while we are preparing dilute solutions in our lab. While we are preparing dilute solutions, okay, we follow this equation. Okay. Okay, for example, we have 1 liter 10 m HCl, and for example, we have 1 liter 10 m HCl solution. This is the stock solution we have in our lab. So from that, I want to prepare 500 ml 1 m HCl. This is required for my experiment. Okay, I want 500 ml 1 m HCl solution. This is the stock solution we have. For example, 1 liter 10 m HCl. Okay, from that I want to prepare 500 ml 1 m HCl solution. So what is the volume of solvent to be added? Or how much amount of the stock solution we have to take? What is the volume of stock solution we have to take? Or what is the volume of solvent we have to add? Water we have to add. Okay, right. So this is high concentration, this is low concentration. So what we have to do? We have to do dilution. We have to add water. Okay. So we have dilution principle. M1 V1 is equal to M2 V2. Initial concentration is 10. So what is the volume of this 10 m HCl we have to take? That we have to calculate. Final concentration we want 1 m. Final volume of solution we want 500 ml. So V is equal to what? 50 ml. So 50 ml of 10 m HCl we have to take. 50 ml of 10 mHCl we have to take. So what is the, this is V1, guys. So what is the volume of water we have to add? So V2 minus V1, that is the volume of water we have to add. 500 minus 50, that is 450 ml of water we have to add. If you add 450 ml of water, then we will get 500 ml of 1m HCl solution. 500 ml of 1m HCl solution. Okay, so like this we can prepare dilute solutions from high concentrated solution, stock solutions. Okay, by following dilution principle. Very, very important, required while you are doing practicals. Okay. And last one, last method to express the concentration of solution, that is normality. And okay, before that, for example, we have mixing two similar solutions. We are mixing two similar solutions. On mixing two similar solutions, having molarities M1, volume V1, okay, M2, V2. We are mixing two similar solutions, two HCl solutions, for example. We are mixing two HCl solutions having concentrations M1, M2 and volumes V1, V2. Then what is the resultant solution molarity? What is the, right, very good, and Srishant here. M1 V1 plus M2 V2 by V1 plus V2. So total number of moles or millimoles. How to calculate total number of moles? M1, M into V indicates number of moles or number of millimoles, M into V. So what is the number of moles of solute present in first solution, M1 V1? What is the number of moles of solute present in second solution, M2 V2? By total volume, V1 plus V2. If volume is given liters, we get number of moles of solute in first solution. M2 V2 gives number of moles of solute in second solution by total volume of solution in liters. Okay, in total solution, volume of solution in liters, what is the number of moles of solute present? That is the molarity of resultant solution. M1 V1 plus M2 V2 by V1 plus V2. For example, we are mixing like this only. Okay, two HCl solutions, for example, two similar solutions having molarities M1 V1 and then M2 V2 plus water also we are adding. For example, some V3 ml of water we are adding. Okay, two HCl solutions having concentrations M1 V1, their corresponding volumes V1 V2. In addition to that, we are adding water also V3 ml. So then the resultant solution molarity we can give like what? M1 V1 plus M2 V2 by total volume. Total volume means V1 plus V2 plus V3. Always we have to take total volume in the denominator, total volume. M1 V1 plus M2 V2 by V1 plus V2 plus V3. Very, very important, and these we can study under acids basis also. We can decide based on number of moles of solute whether a given while we are mixing acid bases, the resultant solution is acidic or basic, which color. Okay, what about the color change? So those things. Okay, we can study at acids basis. From water we are not getting HCl. Okay, from water we are not getting HCl. Pure water we are adding. Okay, so the number of moles of HCl is 0. Number of moles of HCl from pure water, that is 0. Okay, now need to consider, right? Right. Last method to express the concentration, that is normality. This is also very, very important. Normality. So out of all these methods, both molarity and normality are very, very important. Okay, normality. Right. It is the number of gram equivalents. It is the number of gram equivalents of solute. It is the number of gram equivalents of solute present in 1 liter solution. It is the number of gram equivalents of solute present in 1 liter solution. Molarity means number of moles of solute present in 1 liter solution. Normality means number of gram equivalents of solute present in 1 liter solution. For example, in V liters solution, N is the number of gram equivalents. N is the number of gram equivalents of solute present. In V liter solution, N is the number of gram equivalents of solute present. Then what about in 1 liter solution? In 1 liter solution, how many gram equivalents of solute present? That is called as normality. So normality is equal to number of gram equivalents by volume in liters. Number of gram equivalents by volume in liters. So the difference is there number of moles we are using, here number of gram equivalents we are using. So what is number of gram equivalents? I will explain. Okay. So number of gram equivalents is nothing but weight by equivalent weight. Number of moles means weight by molecular weight. Number of moles means weight by molecular weight. Number of gram equivalents means weight by equivalent weight into 1 by volume in liters. Okay, how to calculate equivalent weight I will explain separately. How to get equivalent weight I will explain separately. What is the unit for normality? Okay, simply we can indicate by capital N. Simply we can indicate by capital N, or their moles per liter we have. Their moles per liter we have here. What we have? Gram equivalents per liter. Here we have gram equivalents per liter or gram equivalents per decimeter cube. 1 liter is nothing but 520. Srishant, gram equivalents per decimeter cube. Gram equivalents per decimeter cube. And gram equivalents per liter or gram equivalents per decimeter cube. Now whether it depends on temperature or not. Whether it depends on temperature or not. Okay. No. Yes, it depends on temperature. Since we are expressing normality with respect to volume, as temperature changes, volume changes. So normality also changes. So normality depends on temperature. Normality depends on temperature. This temperature dependence important. Okay, which of the following depends on temperature? Which of the following not depends on temperature? Such questions we may expect. Okay. Normality depends on temperature. Right, or this may be rearranged like this. Okay, normality is equal to, before that, weight by equivalent weight into volume we expressed in liters. If you express in ml, we will get 1000 by volume in ml. 1000 by volume in ml. So all the expressions are same only for molarity and normality. Only the difference is in the place of number of moles we have number of gram equivalents. In the place of molecular weight we have equivalent weight. All the remaining is same only. In the place of equivalent weight we have their molecular weight. Right. So this may be rearranged like this: weight by volume of solution in ml. 1000 I am writing as 100 into 10 by equivalent weight. So weight by volume in ml into 100, that is nothing but weight by volume percentage. So this is the relation between normality into weight by volume percentage into 10 by equivalent weight. So normality is equal to weight by volume percent into 10 by equivalent weight. Weight by volume percent into 10 by equivalent weight. Next, what is the expression for number of gram equivalents of solute? Same and similar to number of moles of solute. What is the expression for number of gram equivalents of solute? Number of gram equivalents is equal to what? N into V in liters. N into V in liters. Okay. Or we can give as from this equation. Okay, number of gram equivalents here from this equation. Weight by equivalent weight is nothing but number of gram equivalents. So number of gram equivalents is equal to what? N into V in ml by 1000. N into V in ml by 1000. Okay, V in liters is nothing but what? V in ml by 1000. 2 liters undandi. 2 liters ante endandi 2000 by 1000 ante 2 ne vastundi malli. Okay, 2000 by 2. Sorry, 2000 by 1000. That is 2 again we'll get. Okay, so number of gram equivalents of solute means N into V in ml or N into V in ml by 1000. Next, number of milligram equivalents of soluted. Number of milligram equivalents of solute. Number of milligram equivalents means number of gram equivalents into 1000. Number of gram equivalents into 1000. That is N into V in liters into 1000. N into V in liters into 1000, or this one. For this, if you do into 1000 gets cancelled. So N into V in ml. Simply, if you substitute volume in ml, we will get milli equivalents. If you substitute volume in liters, we will get gram equivalents. Volume in liters will get gram equivalents. Volume in ml will get milli equivalents. Same, and dilution principle also we have same. So here there is no change in the amount of solute while we are doing dilution, as there is no change in the amount of solute during dilution. So number of gram equivalents or milligram equivalents remains constant. Number of gram equivalents or milligram equivalents. Number of gram equivalents or milligram equivalents of solute remains constant during dilution. Number of gram equivalents or milligram equivalents of solute remains constant during dilution, as there is no change in the amount of solute by adding solvent. Okay. So number of gram equivalents of solute means N into V in liters. Milligram equivalents means N into V in ml. So in general, N into V is equal to constant. If you substitute volume in liters, gram equivalents. If you substitute volume in ml, milligram equivalents. So N1 V1 is equal to N2 V2. N1 V1 is equal to N2 V2. Same here also, during dilution, volume of solvent to be added. During dilution, volume of solvent to be added. Again, same only V2 minus V1. Okay. V2 minus V1 is the volume of solvent to be added. Okay. In lab, we have already stock solution. We have high concentration. We want to prepare low concentrated solution. So we follow this dilution principle. Okay. Same, and next to two similar solutions, if you mix and two HCl solutions having normality N1, N2, volume V1, V2, we are mixing. Two HCl solutions or two similar solutions having normality N1, N2, volume V1, V2, we are mixing. Then what about the resultant solution normality? Okay, so for example, volume I am giving in liters. So total number of moles of solute, very good. Total number of moles of solute by total volume of the solution in liters. Number of moles by volume in liters, that is called normality. So resultant solution normality means, so number of moles of solute we are getting from first HCl solution, number of moles of solute that we are getting from second HCl solution by total volume of solution. That gives resultant solution molarity. So N1 V1 plus N2 V2 by V1 plus V2. If we are adding water, here we'll get plus volume of water. If we are adding water, here we'll get volume of water also. So final volume we have to substitute. Okay. Next, here I introduced some new concept, that is equivalent weight. How to give equivalent weight? How to give equivalent weight? So what is equivalent weight? So equivalent weight is nothing but, right? It is the amount of substance. It is the amount of substance that combines. It is the amount of substance that combines with 1 mole of hydrogen. So the amount of substance which combines with 1 mole of hydrogen, okay, that is called as equivalent weight. It is the amount of substance that combines with 1 mole of hydrogen. This is the actual definition of equivalent weight. There are some shortcuts to determine equivalent weight. Okay. Okay. For example, if you take HCl here 1 mole of HCl is combining with 1 mole of hydrogen. Okay, 1 mole of chlorine is combining with 1 mole of hydrogen. If you take 1 mole of HCl, 1 mole of chlorine is combining with 1 mole of hydrogen. So the amount of chlorine combining with 1 mole of hydrogen, that is called what? Equivalent weight of chlorine. The amount of chlorine combining with 1 mole of hydrogen, that is called equivalent weight of chlorine. So therefore, equivalent weight of chlorine is nothing but the mass of 1 mole of chlorine atoms. That is nothing but the mass of 1 mole of chlorine atoms. So what is the molar mass of chlorine? What is the atomic weight of chlorine? That is 35.5 grams. So equivalent weight of chlorine and 35.5 grams. Both clear or not? Both visible or not? Right, very good, Ramya garu. Clear, okay. Right. For example, I am taking one H2O. For example, H2O. In H2O, if you observe 1 mole of oxygen, 1 mole of oxygen is combining with how many moles of hydrogen? 2 moles of hydrogen. 1 mole of oxygen is combining with 2 moles of hydrogen. Okay, that means how many moles of oxygen is combining with 1 mole of hydrogen? So half mole of oxygen is combining with 1 mole of hydrogen. So the amount of oxygen that is combining with 1 mole of hydrogen, the amount of oxygen that is combining with 1 mole of hydrogen, that is called equivalent weight of oxygen. So therefore, what is the equivalent weight of oxygen? Equivalent weight is equal to 1/2 mole of oxygen. So what is the molar mass of oxygen? 16, half mole. So 16 by 2, that is 8 grams. So 8 grams is said to be equivalent weight of oxygen. 8 grams is said to be equivalent weight of oxygen. Like this, we can calculate equivalent weights and ammonia. Similarly, if you take ammonia, so 1 mole of nitrogen is combining with 3 moles of hydrogen. 1 mole of nitrogen is combining with 3 moles of hydrogen. That means 1/3 moles of nitrogen. Okay, here I am writing ammonia. 1/3 moles of nitrogen is combining with 1 mole of hydrogen. 1/3 moles of nitrogen is combining with 1 mole of hydrogen. So therefore, what is the equivalent weight of nitrogen? And that is 1/3 moles. Okay, the weight of 1/3 moles. And that means what is the molar mass of nitrogen? And that is 14/3. 14/3. Right. 14/3. That is the equivalent weight of nitrogen. If you see, according to law of equivalence, according to law of equivalence, right? According to law of equivalence, according to law of equivalence, okay, here we are not calculating equivalent weight of water, equivalent weight of oxygen we are calculating, oxygen. Okay, law of equivalence, according to law of equivalence, right? Always elements combine, right? Always elements combine, always elements combine in 1:1 ratio of 1:1 ratio of their equivalents. Always elements combine in 1:1 ratio of their equivalents. So this is the importance of equivalents compared to moles. So the number of moles may be different. HCl, if you see, the hydrogen and chlorine are combining in 1:1 ratio of their number of moles. Here 2:1 ratio of their number of moles. Here 1:3 ratio of their number of moles. But number of equivalents are always same. 1 gram equivalent of hydrogen combines with 1 gram equivalent of chlorine. 2 gram equivalents of hydrogen combines with 2 gram equivalents of oxygen. 3 gram equivalents of nitrogen combines with 3 gram equivalents of hydrogen. So always elements combine in 1:1 ratio of their equivalents. Okay, right? So 1/3 moles of nitrogen, 1 equivalent weight. So 1 mole of nitrogen and 3 equivalents. So 3 equivalents of nitrogen combines with 3 equivalents of hydrogen. Okay, 16 grams one more, 8 grams one equivalent అయితే 8 grams one equivalent అయితే 16 grams అంటే ఏంటంటే 2 equivalents. So 2 equivalents of oxygen combines with 2 equivalents of hydrogen. So always elements combine in 1:1 ratio of their equivalent. So based on this principle, if equivalent weight of one element is known to us, equivalent weight of other element we can calculate. If equivalent weight of one element is known to us, equivalent weight of other element we can calculate. For example, SeO I am taking that. Okay, equivalent weight of oxygen is known to us. Based on that, we can calculate equivalent weight of iron. And here, how many moles of oxygen we have? 1 mole of oxygen. 1 mole of oxygen means 16 grams. What is equivalent weight of oxygen? 8 grams. So that means 1 mole of oxygen is equal to how many equivalents of oxygen? 2 equivalents of oxygen. Here 1 mole of oxygen is there. Okay, 16 grams. 8 grams is the equivalent weight of oxygen. So 2 equivalents of oxygen. 2 equivalents of oxygen combines with how many equivalents of iron? 2 equivalents of oxygen combines with 2 equivalents of iron. 2 equivalents of oxygen combines with 2 equivalents of iron. Okay, Nandi. So here how many moles of iron we have? 1 mole. So 1 mole is equal to how many equivalents, Nandi? 2 equivalents. So 1 mole of iron is equal to 2 equivalents of iron. 1 mole of iron is equal to 2 equivalents of iron. So equivalent weight of iron. Equivalent weight of iron is equal to half mole of iron. Half mole of iron. Half mole of iron ante okay nandi. That means 1/2 into molar mass of iron is 56. So 28 grams. That is the equivalent weight of iron in FeO. That is the equivalent weight of iron in FeO. Okay, here 1 mole of oxygen means 16 grams of oxygen is combining with 1 mole of iron. 2 equivalents of oxygen is combining with 2 equivalents of iron according to law of equivalence. So therefore 1 mole of iron, here 1 mole of iron indicates how many equivalents of iron? 2 equivalents of iron. So equivalent weight of iron is equal to half mole of iron. Right hand. You can calculate so. Okay, for example, Fe2O3 తీసుకున్నాం అనుకోండి. Fe2O3 ఇక్కడ ఎన్ని మోల్స్ ఆఫ్ ఆక్సిజన్ ఉందండి? 3 మోల్స్ ఆఫ్ ఆక్సిజన్ ఉంది. 3 మోల్స్ ఆఫ్ ఆక్సిజన్ అంటే ఎన్ని ఈక్వలెంట్స్ అండి? 6 ఈక్వలెంట్స్. 6 ఈక్వలెంట్స్ ఆఫ్ ఆక్సిజన్ combines with how many equivalents of iron? 6 equivalents of iron. Okay, 6 equivalents of iron. ఇక్కడ యాక్చువల్లీ ఎన్ని మోల్స్ ఉన్నాయండి? 2 మోల్స్. సో అంటే 2 మోల్స్ ఆఫ్ ఐరన్ is equal to how many equivalents of iron? 6 equivalents of iron. So equivalent weight of iron is equal to, if you bring this 6 to left side, 2/6. 2/6 moles of iron. 2/6 moles of iron. 2/6 అంటే 2 1 2 3 0. So 56/300. So from this we may conclude that whether equivalent weight is fixed for a given element or equivalent weight is not fixed for a given element. Equivalent weight is not fixed for a given element. For example, in the previous case, equivalent weight of iron is 28, 56/2, but in this case, equivalent weight of iron is 56/3. So equivalent weight of an element is not constant. Okay, an element may have more than one equivalent weight. An element may have more than one equivalent weight. Okay, friends, once again, if you see 3 moles of oxygen here, we have 3 moles of oxygen means how many equivalents of oxygen? 6 equivalents of oxygen. According to law of equivalence, 6 equivalents of oxygen combines with 6 equivalents of iron. So, ఇక్కడ ఎన్ని మోల్స్ ఉంది? 2 మోల్స్ ఉంది. అంటే 2 moles of iron is equal to 6 equivalents of iron. So equivalent weight of iron is equal to 2/6, 1/3 mole of iron. So 56/3. In the previous case, we got 56/2. Here we are getting 56/3. So equivalent weight of an element is not constant. Otherwise, equivalent weights we can get easily. This is the concept of equivalent weight actually. Otherwise, equivalent weights we can get simply like this. And equivalent weight of an acid. Equivalent weight of an acid is equal to, so equivalent weight is equal to molecular weight by basicity and basicity. Equivalent weight of an acid we can give simply like this: molecular weight by basicity. Basicity means what? Basicity means number of replaceable H plus ions. Basicity means number of replaceable H plus ions. Equivalent weight is equal to molecular weight by basicity. Basicity means number of replaceable H plus ions. For example, HCl, if you consider HCl, how many replaceable H plus ions we have? Only one replaceable H plus ion we have. Only one replaceable H plus ions we have. So molecular weight by 1. Okay, molecular weight by 1. So equivalent weight and the molecular weight both are same. Equivalent weight, molecular weight both are same. So therefore normality and molarity both are same. This is the difference between normality and molarity. In molarity we are using molecular weight. In normality we are using equivalent weight. So for HCl, both normality and molarity are same. Okay, so general formula is equivalent weight is equal to molecular weight by n factor on the one. This is the general expression we have. Equivalent weight is equal to molecular weight by n factor. That n factor if is 1, both are same. Okay, acids, in the case of acids, that n factor is called as basicity. In the case of acids, that n factor is called as basicity, number of replaceable H plus ions. H2SO4, if you consider, how many replaceable H plus ions we have? Here, 2 replaceable H plus ions we have. So equivalent weight is equal to molecular weight by 2. Equivalent weight is equal to molecular weight by 2. Very good. Like this, we can give equivalent weight of an acid. Okay. Next, equivalent weight of a base. How to give equivalent weight of a base? And same, equivalent weight is equal to molecular weight by, in this case, n factor. General expression is n factor. In this case, n factor is called as acidity and acidity. Equivalent weight is equal to molecular weight by acidity. That means number of replaceable OH minus ions. Acidity means number of replaceable OH minus ions. Number of replaceable OH minus ions. For example, if you take NaOH or KOH, it is n factor and or acidity and n factor or acidity is 1. Only one replaceable OH minus ion. So acidity is 1. So therefore, equivalent weight is equal to molecular weight. Both are same. That means normality and molarity both are same. N factor is 1. So therefore, both normality and molarity are same. For example, if you take calcium hydroxide, magnesium hydroxide, so equivalent weight is equal to what? How many replaceable OH minus ions we have? 2 replaceable OH minus ions we have. So equivalent weight is equal to molecular weight by 2. Equivalent weight is equal to molecular weight by 2. Right hand. Manohar. Next, equivalent weight of salt. How to give equivalent weight of salt? And equivalent weight is equal to molecular weight by equivalent weight is equal to molecular weight. How to give n factor? In the case of salts, how to give n factors? In the case of acids, n factor is equal to basicity. In the case of bases, n factor is equal to acidity. In the case of salts, equivalent weight is equal to molecular weight by total positive charge or total negative charge. Total positive charge or total negative charge. Equivalent weight is equal to molecular weight by total positive charge or total negative charge. For example, NaCl we have. So equivalent weight is equal to what? Molecular weight by total positive charge. Total units of positive charge plus 1 unit. 1 unit of positive charge is there. Here 1 unit of negative charge is there. So molecular weight by 1. So both are same. Normality, molarity are same for NaCl. Both normality and molarity are same for NaCl, KCl. Okay. For example, calcium chloride I am taking. Calcium chloride. So equivalent weight is equal to what? Molecular weight by total positive charge. On calcium, how many units of positive charge we have? 2 units of positive charge we have. Total negative charge again 2 units. So molecular weight by 2. Molecular weight by 2. So like this, we can give the equivalent weights of salts. Okay, next one, equivalent weight of oxidizing agent. This is important while we are studying redox reactions, how to give equivalent weight of oxidizing agents and reducing agent. We know that oxidizing agent itself participates in the reduction. Oxidizing agent itself participates in the reduction. What is oxidizing agent? And itself participates in the reduction and it oxidizes other substance. Reduction means gaining of electrons. Reduction means what? Gaining of electrons. So in this case, what is the N factor? If you see, equivalent weight is equal to molecular weight by okay, total change in oxidation state. Very good. Total change in oxidation state, or number of electrons gained. Number of electrons gained by one molecule. Number of electrons gained by one molecule, or change in oxidation state for one molecule. Change in oxidation state for one molecule. Like this, we can give the N factor for oxidizing agent. Itself participates in the reduction, so it gains electrons. So therefore, molecular weight by number of electrons gained by one molecule, or change in oxidation for one molecule. For example, iron 3 plus undergoing reduction to give iron 2 plus. Iron 3 plus undergoing reduction to give iron 2 plus. What is the number of electrons gained here? 1. What is the change in oxidation state? Plus 3 to plus 2. That means change in oxidation state is 1. Change in oxidation state is 1. So in this case, equivalent weight of iron and molecular weight of iron same. Both are same. N factor is 1. N factor is 1. For example, I2 plus 2 electrons gives rise to 2 moles of iodine. We have a redox reaction. Estimation of iodine by using hypo. Estimation of iodine by using hypo. That is a redox reaction. Iodine undergoes reduction. Iodine undergoes reduction. Hypo undergoes oxidation. Right. So what about equivalent weight? And equivalent weight is equal to molecular weight by, there how many electrons are involved? 2 electrons. What is the change in oxidation number for one molecule? 0 to minus 2. 0 to minus 2. So change in oxidation number is 2. Okay, so reverse we have in the case of reducing agents, equivalent weight of reducing agents. Next I am giving equivalent weight of reducing agent. Equivalent weight of reducing agent. So reducing agent itself participates in what? Oxidation. Oxidation means what? Loss of electrons. Loss of electrons is called oxidation. Equivalent weight of reducing agents. Right, very good. Molecular weight by number of electrons lost by one molecule. Number of electrons lost by one molecule, or change in oxidation state for one molecule. Same. So N factor we can give for reducing agents like this. Reducing agent means itself participates in the oxidation. Oxidation means loss of electron. So molecular weight by number of electrons lost by one molecule, or change in oxidation state for one molecule. I am giving an oxidizing agent. I am giving an oxidizing agent Cr2O7 minus 2, K2Cr2O7, K2Cr2O7. Okay, K2Cr2O7, potassium dichromate. When it participates in the oxidation, this is the reaction occurs. No, sorry. There. So potassium dichromate is an oxidizing agent. Oxidizing agent across the potassium dichromate is an oxidizing agent. KMnO4 is also an oxidizing agent. Reducing agent, for example, hypo I am taking Na2H2O3. Okay, this is the reaction we will get at 2H2O3 minus 2 gives rise to S4O6 minus 2 plus 2 electrons, loss of 2 electrons. Okay, 2H2O3 minus 2 gives rise to S4O6 minus 2 plus 2 electrons. We have iodine versus hypo reaction. We have iodine versus hypo reaction. Iodine undergoes reduction, hypo undergoes oxidation, loss of electrons. So it is reducing agent, iodine is oxidizing agent. Here, what is the change in oxidation state? or number of electrons lost by one molecule. Here electrons are lost by two molecules. Okay, 2 electrons are lost by 2 molecules. So the number of electrons lost by one molecule is 1. So therefore equivalent weight and molecular weight both are same. Equivalent weight and molecular weight are same. Both normality and molarity same for hypo during this reaction. So like this, we can give equivalent weights of various substances. Okay, equivalent weight is equal to generally molecular weight by n factor. That n factor we can give for acids, basicity, number of replaceable H plus ions. For bases, number of replaceable OH minus ions. For salts, total positive or total negative charge. For oxidizing and reducing agent, change in oxidation state for one molecule. For oxidizing and reducing agents, n factor we can give as change in oxidation state for one molecule. Okay. So the importance of normality is, for example, if you consider a reaction, A plus B gives rise to C plus D, the number of moles of A, B, C, D may same or may not same. During a reaction, the number of moles of reactants and products may not be same, but the number of gram equivalents are same. Always two substances react in 1:1 ratio of their equivalents. Always two substances react in 1:1 ratio of their equivalents. Number of moles may not be same. Number of moles may not same, but the number of gram equivalents are always same. Always two substances react in 1:1 ratio of their gram equivalents. So here number of gram equivalents of A is equal to number of gram equivalents of B is equal to number of gram equivalents of C is equal to number of gram equivalents of D we will get it. Always elements react in 1:1 ratio of their equivalents, and number of moles of products and reactants may be different, but number of gram equivalents are always same. Number of gram equivalents means weight by equivalent weight. So weight by equivalent weight of A. So weight of A by equivalent weight of A is equal to weight of B by equivalent weight of B, weight of C by equivalent weight of C, weight of D by equivalent weight of D. Okay. So number of moles may be different, but number of gram equivalents are always same. Right, and these are the various methods we have to express the concentration. So in the next class, I will start colligative properties. Right. So actually, we already the overall revision కాబట్టి కొంచెం స్పీడ్ గా వెళ్ళాల్సి వచ్చింది. సో యాక్చువల్ గా 2 క్లాసెస్ తీసుకుంటాం. ఓకే, ఈజీగా 2 క్లాసెస్ పడుతుంది. వేరియస్ మెథడ్స్ టు ఎక్స్ప్రెస్ కాన్సంట్రేషన్ కి. రైట్.
సార్ ఏం చేద్దామా?
రైట్ సార్. ఓకే సార్.
రేపు కుదరదు కదా?
రేపు కుదరదు సార్, మళ్ళీ ఎల్లుండి తీసుకుంటాం.
ఓకే సార్, ఆల్టర్నేట్ చూద్దాం. డే ఆఫ్టర్ టుమారో I'll make a call again.
రైట్ అండి. రైట్ సార్. సో వచ్చేటప్పుడు ఒకసారి ఇవన్నీ చూసుకోండి. వేరియస్ మెథడ్స్ టు ఎక్స్ప్రెస్ కాన్సంట్రేషన్. రైట్.
సో థ్యాంక్ యూ సార్. థ్యాంక్ యూ వెరీ మచ్.
థ్యాంక్ యూ సార్. థ్యాంక్ యూ సార్.
ఏం చేద్దామా? ఏమైనా డౌట్స్ ఉంటే అడుగుతారా పిల్లలు?
ఏమైనా డౌట్స్ ఉన్నాయండి?
If you have any doubts, you can ask. Otherwise, we'll close the today's session.